Just like to take you quickly through where we've been with this. Your board looked at the situation that we were facing over the next 2 to 3 years and our revenue streams and where we were going to be in 2 or 3 years. And that was not a good sight. We looked at the situation where we weren't going to have enough funds to be able to do the correct amount of marketing unless we went to the parks and said to the parks, we've got to double or triple or quadruple your fees to get enough money to do the marketing. We got the timeline? Yep. This is where we started. March 2017, the board approached Big Four, retargeting members. Big Four approached us, approaching our parks to join their affiliate program. That got us to thinking where we stood, and we moved on to Discovery presenting to the board. In the state we were in, we spoke to, I don't know whether I can follow all that. We spoke to the NRMA, we spoke to Family Parks, and we spoke to Discovery Parks. And we came up with Discovery Parks came up with a model and a proposal to us. And as you can see through there, we went from a joint venture proposal. We presented non-negotiables to Grant. And then in October 2017, we negotiated a deal that we thought was good to present to the parks. This is not a done deal at this stage. We are presenting it to you as a very good possibility because we think it's the best we've come up with. And at the situation we're in right now, I think probably it's the best thing Top Parks have ever looked at and the direction in which to go. The marketing that will be flowing out to the parks, just unbelievable, compared to what we could do with the revenue streams we had. I think the people at Phuket would have looked at this deal that was put up at Phuket has changed just slightly. So I'm going to hand over to Grant, and Grant can run through that. Okay, Grant, thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Richard. Okay, so quick introduction on myself. I am Grant Wilkins. I'm the Chief Executive and one of the founders of Discovery. So I've been in the industry now for 13 years. I'm very passionate about the industry. I sit on the national board, on the National Industry Body Board. And really, this proposal today, or the discussion today, is really about trying to educate you guys or help you guys make a decision. We've spent the last few weeks on the road, and it's fair to say that there's quite a lot of gossip and innuendo that's in the market. So this is about informing you guys so you can make a proper informed decision. Because at the end of the day, this is actually a membership group, as Richard just said, and it's up to you to make the decision as to whether this moves forward or not. So what I want you to do is make sure when you leave today, I want to make sure you don't leave today with questions. So as we go through this, hopefully you've got a pad and a piece of paper. If you haven't, I can grab them for you. But I'd love you to write down all the questions as we go through this. And then what we'll do is we'll have a Q&A session at the back end of the day. So please, if you've got questions, I don't want you to leave without asking them. And we've had some great questions over the last few days, and it's really important. No question is silly. So really keen for you to make sure you put your hand up or you participate. So look, in terms of the last few weeks, we've been spending the time on the road. We've probably seen 120 odd parks around the journey out of a couple of hundred parks, and it's been mixed. There's been a lot of good feedback, and there's been a lot of sort of people that are sort of sitting on the fence and not certain about how this is all going to go. So from your perspective, just want to make sure that you actually participate and get involved. I will actually introduce one other person. Kate Berry is in the back here. Kate is our Chief People Officer, and a lot of what I'm going to talk through later on in the presentation is around training. And I think one of the key parts of what I think we'll talk about today is access into our back office. And I don't know who's walked around out the back here, but there's a big infrastructure out here, and what we want to talk to you about today is not only a very attractive fee and model for Top Parks moving forward, but it's actually access into our back office. And Kate as really quite critical in terms of the training aspect of what Discovery offers. So let's get into it. So as a founder of Discovery 13 years ago, I thought I was investing in caravans and caravan parks. And there's no doubt about it, we are an investor in caravans and caravan parks. Having said that, right now we're also an investor in technology, and we are an investor in Outdooria, and there's been some conversation around isn't Discovery an investor in Outdooria? And I think at the end of the day, what we're in this day and age, we're all in the business of parks, but the reality here is we're also in the business and we're competing with OTAs around technology. And so when I look at this page, I sort of look at it and go, we thought we were here. The reality is we are here, but we're also over here. So what we want to talk to you today is how do we combat the likes of the other people in the market, and how do we combat Booking.com, how do we combat Airbnb, how do we combat Expedia, how do we combat Big Four? How do we actually look at addressing our market? So I know this is not. I don't want to scare people, and I don't want to talk about change too much. But change this industry is changing rapidly. The world's changing rapidly in terms of a lot of industries are being disrupted. Look at taxis. Look at there's a lot of disruption. Look at Airbnb, how it's disrupted hotels. Right, there is disruption happening everywhere. And I guess in terms of the next 5 years and the last few years, change is just everywhere. And I think. This is an interesting one from Benjamin Franklin. When you finish changing, you've finished. And I don't want to, again, shock people, but I think it's I thought it was quite an interesting statement, even from Benjamin Franklin, and I think it's quite compelling as to where we are. So in terms of digital and technology, this is a really interesting graph. This is actually, this is hotels. This is a global hotel mobile, so not just internet, but mobile bookings over the next 5 years. So the orange is APAC, so Australian Pacific, but this is actually a global graph. So what it's highlighting is over the next 5 years, mobile bookings are going to double over the next 5 years. Now, there's no doubt that we're all putting a lot of effort into our web, and I think Sarah's doing a great job from a Top Parks perspective in improving the website. But it's not just website; it's actually also really focusing on how people are going to think about booking and interacting with us in the future, which, to be honest with you, it won't be on desktop. It won't be on desktops. It'll be on your mobile. It'll be on your iPads. It is going to be mobile. So we've got to look at how we address how customers are interacting with our parks moving forward. And when I think about what, and I'm not going to be critical too much of the Top Parks booking process, but when you have a look at the booking process right now, you try and make a booking, you get taken off onto a Netrooms, I don't know if anybody's tried, but you make a booking, you click on your park, you press book, it takes you off into a different environment in Netrooms. It's all very clunky, right? You think about, and I don't know if anybody's used it, I actually haven't used it yet, but if you think about Airbnb, I've actually been on their website, but I've never actually pursued a booking because they're the opposition, they're the evil people. But it is incredibly smooth, right? It is a really, really nice user experience. So I think what we've got to do, and you think about why people use Uber. So I don't know who's used Uber here. I assume a lot of you have used Uber, but it is just really, really easy, right? It's really, really smooth and really easy. So the problem with taxis, obviously, is they're getting disrupted by Uber. And I think similar like Airbnb, it's disrupting everybody because the way that you can just move through Airbnb and search not parks, but properties and accommodations is incredible. So I think that's the sort of thing which, if Top Parks and Discovery and anybody wants to be relevant moving forward, we've got to think about how we have a great user experience, because people get addicted. People get hooked on the way that they actually interact through a website or through a device. So it's just an interesting graph in terms of where the market's heading. Again, I've already mentioned some of these change discussions, but what have we got? We've got online booking agencies delivering a lot of our traffic. From Discovery's perspective, we've got about 28% of our traffic goes online. That's through our own website, that's through Big Four, that's through Top Parks, that's through Booking.com, that's through Expedia. So it's through a lot of different channels. Having said that, I think one of the challenges that we've all got is that these rates are growing. So we know Booking.com is going from 12% to 13%, to 14%, 15%. All these rates are going to start growing, right? There is no doubt about it that there's going to be more and more hit on our hip pockets, and we've got to look at how we get control and bring traffic back to our own website, which is actually more of a controlled, lower fee structure. And what we're going to talk to you about today is effectively a 5 and 8% fee structure, which I don't know anybody in the market that's delivering that sort of fee structure, and we'll talk through that today. So as I said, I've mentioned Airbnb, but I think the other thing that's really interesting is the marketing groups. And I think where we are today, we've got Big Four launching a new product. We're launching a new structure with a franchise model and with an affiliate program. You've obviously got you've got the Outdooria hitting the market. You've got Top Parks, exploring what's going on. You've got people questioning what the value of family parks is. And look, to be honest with you, you should all be questioning what the value of all of these things are, because money is important and return on investment is important. And we assess our return on investment all the time. Now, Discovery we've got 26 Big Four parks. In fact, we've got 27 now because we bought a park a couple of weeks ago in Hervey Bay. We've got 27 Big Four parks in our portfolio. We've got 14 top parks, and we question the marketing groups all the time, right? So, and you guys should be doing the same thing. You guys should be questioning the marketing groups. So I think where we're at in this day and age is money's important, costs are important, and can you get a better return off your investment somewhere else? And I think what I want to try and show you today is there's a way that we can keep your investment in top parks very low in terms of your fee structure, but actually give you a higher return. I want to start with, and this is a bit confronting, it's confronting for Discovery. This is a confronting graph for both Discovery, and it's also a confronting graph for top parks. So if you have a look up here, we've got prompted brand awareness and we've got unprompted brand awareness on the other side. So prompted brand awareness is when somebody obviously says to you, have you heard of Big Four? Have you heard of Discovery Parks? Have you heard of Top Parks? Unprompted is, can you please tell me a name of a caravan business or a caravan park business? So as you can see here, and look, this is obviously as it is. If you have a look at unprompted brand awareness, which is really how people search, right? When people go on the internet and they search something, caravan parks, and I don't know who actually has been to the pub or a barbecue with their family and friends, and you say, I run a caravan park, and they say, what's that Big Four? Who's had that? Who's had that? We've all had that, right? So from my perspective, I sit there and I go, no, I'm from Discovery Parks. We're the largest park owner in the country, but everybody thinks we're Big Four, right? So what the challenge we've all got is that there's Big Four are just miles ahead of where Discovery is and where Top Parks is and where Family Parks is. So the challenge for all of us is actually how we get more brand relevance and how we improve our brand recognition in the market, which obviously assists with search and obviously helps us deliver more customers, bums in beds, right? As an owner of parks like you guys, I actually want to deliver bums in beds. And I think that's how we are. We do think differently from a typical marketing group, is that we actually own parks. So when I think about what are we getting out of brand awareness, what are we getting out of top parks, what are we getting out of Big Four, I think like you think. I think about how many people can I get into my park to stay in my park tonight, tomorrow night, over the journey. So I am focused on return on investment. I'm focused on sales. I'm focused on bums in beds. So anyway, the challenge for us is how do we grow this? And I think what I'm keen to do is actually combine our two collective groups and to make a really powerful group to effectively take on Big Four and take on the market and take on everybody else in the market. And I think it's a great opportunity for us actually to try and work together, and we do talk about this throughout the course of today, but better together, right? Discovery has got a balance sheet, we've got in-house capabilities, you guys have got a wonderful network of parks, and so therefore how can we actually join together and actually become a more powerful group as one as opposed to apart? And we'll talk through that today. So when we've been working with the Top Parks board, one of the challenges that I guess I talked to Sarah about her budget, and the budget total revenue of Top Parks is about $3 million. The total marketing spend for Top Parks is about $1.2 million a year. Now, as individual park owners, you go, wow, that's a lot of money. And to be honest with you, it sounds like a lot of money, right? $1.2 million sounds like a lot of money. Now, the issue is Sarah's got caravan and camping shows. She's got, she's got all the production costs. She doesn't have graphic design within her group, within Top Parks. A lot of it very quickly gets eaten away in terms of tactical spend. So right now, what is it, Sarah? It's 700 grand or odd is tactical spend. Is that roughly what it is? So the amount that Sarah actually spends in tactical spend is about 700 grand across 200 parks. So, one of the challenges for Sarah is that she's got, she's trying to deliver an amazing, marketing, capability for yourselves and sales capability for yourselves. But I guess what lacks out of Top Parks is, probably hasn't had the investment in technology, although Scotty's doing a great job for those that went to the conference. There's a huge investment going into Top Parks from a back office perspective, but it's getting there, but it's not there. It's not there yet. So the ability to actually have back office resources such as support for Top Parks and for you guys around IT, around operational, finance, industry leading marketing expertise, digital expertise. Sarah's one person. I think there is about 13 marketing people out here at Discovery. So imagine if we could combine the resources. How much more could we do? So that's one of the challenges. This is obviously one of the challenges for Top Parks. Now, look, this next slide is a confronting slide for Top Parks, and I just wanted to run through this. I will highlight though, and we tried to update it this morning. This is to September, and there's been significant improvement in October. All right, for Top Parks. So, but I do want to highlight this is the Top Parks website here, and this is the Discovery website on this side. So the Top Parks website, I want to use the sort of the first and the third column, just because obviously that's the last 3 months, or the 3 months that we've chosen, which is, well, other than October, which is July through to end of September. So as you can see here, this is the website, right? This is the Top Parks website, online bookings. So as you can see here, there's 209 parks in the Top Parks group, and there's 65 now, but in the Discovery group. So 14 of those 209 are Discovery. So there is some double up in that. Sorry. But effectively what you've got here is over this 3-month period, the amount of money that was taken through the Top Parks online booking channel was $209,000. So 209,000 divided by 209 parks, quite interesting. It's $1,000. It's nice, easy maths. So effectively, the booking engine has taken roughly $1,000 per park over that period. And during that same period, Sarah has spent $75,000, which is roughly 25 grand a month, on search engine marketing on the website. During the same period, Discovery's got 63 parks, and we delivered roughly $2.67 million through the Discovery websites. This is not through Big Four, this is through our website, our own website. And we spent $200,000. So we spent way more than Sarah, right? We spent way more than Top Parks did. But what we delivered per park was $42,000 per park got delivered through that avenue of the Discovery website. So what I want to highlight is that there's a huge opportunity in terms of improving the Top Parks experience and the Top Parks booking engine and the Top Parks search and everything else. Now, having said that, it's cost us more money, right? It has cost us more money, but the return is there. So really one of the first things we want to do, and we're already working with Sarah actually, so even if this doesn't go ahead, I think the Top Parks, the Top Parks experience will change anyway, it will improve. But there's a huge opportunity to really improve that booking platform in the Top Parks world. And as I said, I just mentioned the digital, how everybody's moving online. It is what's happening. Don't get me wrong, referral networks are really, really important. We know that Top Parks, Big Four, family parks, why do we part of them? We're a part of them for a couple of reasons. We're part of them for the referral network. We're also part of them for the camaraderie and the friendships. And then we're also part of them for return on investment. So the referral network is obviously still very strong. But really what we want to try and enhance is that online experience. So a little bit about Discovery. We should have updated this. Well, sorry, it has been updated. Well done, Dave. You have updated it. So we are 65 parks. We've just bought 2 parks in the last couple of months in Queensland. So we're 65 parks. We're a true national business. So when you think about partners for Top Parks, it could choose Ingenia. It could choose anybody, right? But I guess Ingenia's focused on the East Coast. They are very much focused on East Coast. When you look at their investment strategy, that is what they state and that is what they do. Discovery is truly a national portfolio, and to be honest with you, we are as passionate about Tasmania as we are Northern WA. Now, for all of you that come from South Australia, we're also a South Australian business, and I think we punch above our weight in this state. And I think we're, because we also live here, I think we're also going to, there's a lot of effort that goes into our South Australian portfolio. So it's obviously a national portfolio. It is the largest in the country. We've got about 39,000 financial members. Top Parks has about 80,000 financial members in terms of individual card members. So we've got our own loyalty card like Top Parks has. We've got our own booking engine. So when you go into the Discovery website, it doesn't take you off the website. It's not as smooth as Airbnb, but I don't know if anybody's tried it. It's a relatively succinct, smooth process. And we've worked hard in terms of CRM. We'll talk through technology. The other thing we'll talk about is Sunsuper. Sunsuper are our major shareholder, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But effectively, Discovery is owned by mums and dads that own Discovery, because we are owned by 1.3 million Australians that own superannuation money or have their money invested in Sunsuper. So we're effectively owned by mums and dads of Australia. And that is actually a really big benefit, because they all want to go and visit our parks, and they have access in the back part of Discovery, and we want to actually give them access in the back end of Top Parks and actually drive sales through the Top Parks website through 1.3 million members in the Top Parks group. And they, sorry, not in the Sunsuper group. And they are really, really excited about the potential of this transaction, because it actually gives their members access to a couple of hundred parks rather than just 60. And then obviously we've got a sort of a membership database, which is Top Parks has got as well. So I've already mentioned who we are. There's, as I said, the Sunsuper aspect, 1.3 million members. They are a $46 billion fund, right? So that sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. We are their largest single investment. They are incredibly passionate about the caravan park industry. And as I said, we're their largest single investment in Sunsuper. And I guess what's one of the beauties about where we've come from and where we've been, where we are now, is we've come out of a private equity world. And for those that have views around Discovery and around our sort of aggression in the market, I guess we have come out of a private equity world where timeframes have been 3 to 5 years. The benefit of Sunsuper is we are now thinking 15 to 20 years. Sunsuper is a long-term holder of this asset class, right? They love the asset and they see this investment into Discovery as a long-term shareholder, and how can Discovery make long-term decisions rather than short-term decisions and actually benefit not only Discovery but the whole market, the whole caravan park market, which is one of the reasons why, from a board perspective, I sit on the national board and we try and have representations on all the state boards as well, because at the end of the day we actually want to give back. I've had 13 years in this industry. I love it. I'm passionate about it, and it's about time I actually personally started giving back to the industry. I've been through that, don't worry about that. So $5.5 million investment in tech. There's nobody that's investing that sort of money in technology in this space. We know they're not investing in it. And we spent a lot of time working through what that looks like. So a huge amount of it is in CRM, which is the big marketing piece, right? It is all about marketing. It is all about driving persona-driven customers into your parks, and I'll talk more about that shortly. But there's a huge amount in that. We're in Adelaide, and obviously the Top Parks office is here as well. So at least if we're going to do something, there's no job losses, and there's not sort of fear about, oh my God, you're a Queensland company. We are an Adelaide-based company, and Top Parks is an Adelaide-based company. We spent about $6 million on tactical marketing, excluding wages, right? This is tactical marketing. In addition to that, we spent about 5% of our development dollars goes into marketing. So right now we've got a $30 million budget on CapEx. So we are putting in a water park at Lake Bonnie. So I don't know if anybody's seen it on social media, but we're putting in a new water park into Lake Bonnie. We have a new pool going to the Barossa Valley. So whenever we spend anything like that, the water park in Lake Bonnie is about $1.1 million, right? So when you spend $1.1 million, our board's automatically signed off on 5% plus, so it's 1.1 plus 5% goes into marketing. So to launch that product. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because they're quite big numbers, and I think if we can actually join together, there's a halo effect. So if we do something that actually is great for the brand, for the Top Parks brand, then what happens is when we're talking about it in social media and we're talking about it in the market, then it actually should have a halo impact on the whole market, on the whole of the Top Parks brand. If we were together, right, when you're talking about a new water park somewhere, that actually should have an impact on all your businesses because you've got the same business, you've got the same name, right? So I think it's an important aspect because I think it's the halo impact, and I think I've already mentioned that access to customers. So look, remaining relevant. I think we'll talk about how do we actually remain relevant in a competing and a sort of an overcrowded market. So the future's about us running great businesses. So I think one of the things that we look at with the models that have been put forward by Big Four and what's in the market is that there's some of the other offers in the market sort of assume that you guys actually don't run good businesses. And I think as an owner-operator and somebody that runs businesses like you guys, one of the things we really respect is actually you run great businesses. So we actually want you to get on and run a great business, and we don't want to actually interfere with you. We don't want to, if you don't want to change your name, which is obviously if you're a full Big Four franchise model, you would have to change your name to Big Four. They'd have access to all of your data. They very much take over your uniforms to wear. It becomes a very much more controlled environment to what you operate now in, which, to be honest with you operate independent parks. You're an independent park group, and to be honest with you, we want you to stay independent. We actually don't want to take over your lives. We actually want you to stay and be independent, but we think we can help you run better businesses in terms of, not run better businesses, but derive sales into your businesses. And if you want help in running better businesses through access to training or to anything in our back office, we want you to have access to that. That's effectively what we're trying to do here. So we want to deliver strategies that actually drive sales and deliver to you what you're struggling with in terms of the online presence, and well, it's not struggling, where you can actually see opportunity, but actually still leave you to run your business in your own right. So the next slide is about what's actually available in the market. So what we've done is we've looked at in the market what's frustrated us. We are an owner-operator just like you. So when we've looked at what's available in the market, we've been probably a little bit disappointed with aspects of every offering. We've been a little bit disappointed with probably even the historical offering of Top Parks. We're disappointed with the franchise model of Big Four. We're disappointed with the affiliate model of Big Four. And these are basically the reasons why we're disappointed. And then this is actually the reason, or this is actually what we think we've designed to counteract these issues. So the first issue up here, which is probably the most important issue, is data. So under the Big Four franchise agreement, when a customer checks into your park with a Big Four card, then that customer is not your customer. That customer, if I own Big Four or I am Big Four, that customer is my customer. That's not your customer. So even though they've checked into your park with a Big Four card, if you're a Big Four park, that customer is actually not yours. It belongs to Big Four. And you are not allowed to market to that customer, right? So now, that to us, we've got 27 Big Four parks. We pay them $1.2 million a year. I'm not happy about being a full franchise under a Big Four model. Now, you guys will sit there and go, who cares? We're not a franchise. So the affiliate program is exactly the same. So under the affiliate program, there is all sorts of controls over the customer and the data. So from our perspective, and we'll talk about this during the course of today, when a customer checks into your park with a Top Parks card or a G'day card, which we'll talk about shortly, that customer is your customer. When the customer comes in through the topparks.com.au website and checks into Ian's park, then that customer is a shared customer, right? It is owned by topparks.com.au, but it is also Ian's customer. Having said that, it's not the Barossa Valley's customer, right? So the way that we're thinking about it, the model, is that the customer is a shared customer between the ultimate park, where the customer goes through, if it comes only the online presence. So if it comes in off the street, then that is clearly your customer and it's got nothing to do with the Top Parks brand, even though they've checked in with a Top Parks card. But if it comes in online, that customer becomes Ian's customer and our customer if this transaction happens. So, right? Now we can market, what we want to do is we want to market to that customer to everybody, right? So that customer is not everybody else's customer other than we want to market to them, right? But Ian can market direct. Ian can send an email to that person and do his own thing. You guys, through the privacy law, actually aren't allowed to send emails to that individual, but we will be able to do it on behalf of the group. And to be honest with you, we want to get as many customers as we can in the funnel and send them out to everybody else, right? But Ian will be able to market directly. The other one is complying with the franchise, the brand rules. So the franchise code's pretty tight, pretty tough, and we've talked about uniforms, we've talked about a lot of things. Now we actually want to stay away from the franchise code. I don't want to have responsibility for your staff and whether you pay them right and what you do. I mean, that's your business. The franchise code, there's all sorts of rules and liability that sits. So we actually want to stay well and truly away from it. So the affiliate model isn't a franchise, and we want to stay well and truly away from a franchise. We want you to run your own businesses. I don't care whether you want to call yourself Frangipani Caravan Park. I don't care whether you don't want to call yourself anything to do with Top Parks, but you just want to use the Top Parks website. It is up to you. I want to stay really, really away from franchise world. Best-in-class marketing and digital capability. We'll talk more and more about that, but there's nobody investing in the technology and the marketing capability that Discovery's got. And I hope that you do get some of our stuff online and you see what we're doing. I think we're doing, we're doing some reasonable stuff, and we want to do more of that stuff. We want to do more of it across the whole portfolio. But that is a key part of it, is investing in the digital platform. And as I said, there's $5.5 million going into that. Access into fee for service. So when you think about fee for service, Big Four is and even Top Parks, what it is now, they can't offer support from a back office perspective. So we want to give you access to our back office. So I won't mention the park, but in our road shows last week, we're up in Queensland, and we met a couple who just bought a Top Park, right, 6 months ago, and they probably didn't, they really needed help, right? They needed help. They maybe they didn't do their DD in terms of what was required in running a park, but they needed so much help, and it's not in Top Parks' DNA to actually be an amazing operator of parks and know about the rules of smoke alarms and power heads and all these things, right? So they had nowhere to go to actually get support. Now I know you guys are all seasoned operators and good operators, but you got to think about how do we support new people coming into the Top Parks world. Moving forward, we've got to try and give them support. Or even for you guys, how do we train people? How do we train your assistant managers? Again, you guys might be all great managers in your own right. How do we train your staff? Or we don't have to train them, but how do you train your staff if you haven't got access to some of the back office that may be available? And we'll show you some training videos during the course of today. So again, I think we're the only people that actually can deliver that, because we are owner-operators just like you. Control over marketing and AdWords. Again, we were very frustrated with the lack of control over, say, so we've got a Pambula Beach, where it's a Big Four park. There's massive restrictions over us being able to control our own AdWords and what we can search for in Google Analytics and Google Search, because that park is a Big Four. So there's a huge amount of controls under that arrangement. So again, not under the affiliate program, and we don't want to give. I don't care what words you want to use. You want to pay for it. If you want to pay for the word discovery, you're going to pay for the word whatever in your search. You do it. I don't want to sit there and police what words you're searching for in your paid search. But I can tell you that's what's required under the franchise model. And then the other thing is we only want to charge with direct bookings. Online bookings. And if there's bookings that come direct because of the brand, and the investment we're going to make, which is significant. We're going to talk about that shortly. We're going to put $10 million into the brand of Top Parks. But if people are coming off the street, we don't want to get anything from those people, and so therefore anyone that comes off the street, is commission free and free of charge. It's really only the sales that come through the web. So it's a performance fee, right? I mean, if we don't perform, you don't pay. I mean, it's a very, very simple model. Discovery is a performance organisation. That's how we've survived. That's how we've been successful in our 13 years. It's because we've actually had to perform, and I think that's a really important aspect of what we're trying to deliver here, is a performance model where if we don't perform, you don't pay. So we want to give you an industry-leading model with low base fees and a performance fee in terms of commissions, still 5 and 8%. Tell me anybody that's charging 5 and 8%. I don't know anybody in the market that's charging 5 and 8%, which basically allows you to protect your margins. Because to be honest with you, it's not this aspect that actually funds what we want to talk about today. It's the loyalty program, which we'll talk through. That is actually how we fund your marketing. So what we're trying to do here is deliver a low fee structure to you and protect your margins. So this is an example of the franchise fee, the fees that would be payable under the new proposed model, the existing Top Parks model, and then the commission-based Top Parks model, which is coming in the future, and then a Big Four franchise and affiliate model. So what we've done here is we've chosen $1 million park. So there's $1 million turnover park. Now the average turnover of a Top Parks park is 850 grand. We chose it because it's a nice round number. It's $1 million, right? But the average turnover of Top Parks park is $850,000. So on the basis of $1 million, right? This, and assuming 6% is coming online, which by the way, right now it's about 1%. So this is over. These fees would be payable in about 2 years' time, as you've actually grown the Top Parks web portal. So this is actually quite a it's an interesting even slide to put forward, because I think the amount of traffic coming online right now is actually very low. But if you have a look at these models, what we're proposing is a $5,000 base fee, and then a 5% commission to somebody who comes in through a Top Parks membership card basis, or a member, or a G'day member, which we'll talk about shortly, and 8% through a non-member, all right? So it's a relatively low fee structure. So on the basis of 6.6% of the income coming online through this channel, which I guarantee you it's nothing like that for any of you right now, it would be about $9,000. Now, right now, if we applied this right now, most of you would pay probably $6,000. You might pay $1,000 a commission, because there's just not enough traffic coming through the website. The current fee you're paying to Top Parks is about $9,500 for the same park, right? Based on how many sites, how many cabins you've got, right? That's how you charge now. It's based on sites and cabins. The proposal, and right now there's a hiatus on commission in the Top Parks model. Now, the reason why there's a hiatus is because it was all about getting a booking engine in the back end of Top Parks, but there is the intention to charge a commission in the future. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen, and to be honest with you, if this doesn't happen, I imagine it's for the Top Parks board to work out what commission that is and when it's going to start getting charged. But for the base of what we've talked about with the Top Parks, it could be expected to be about whatever percent of it. Even with 2%, it's going to be higher than your base. So automatically, it's up to sort of $14,000, right? So as soon as Top Parks do start charging commission, you're straight away way higher than where you are today. Now, if we have a look at the affiliate program and the full franchise model under the Big Four, yes, it's a lower fee. It's $3,000, but it's 10% commission. And the full franchise is $25,000. Under Discovery, our fees for Big Four are about $44,000 per park, right? Because we've got bigger parks than $1 million. But it's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money that's going out to third parties without control of your data, without control of your AdWords, which is the reason why we're here talking to you, is because we're a bit frustrated ourselves and we're trying to find a model which we think we can work for owner-operators. Because like you, we're an owner-operator, we're just a bigger owner-operator. So that's how we're thinking about how do we actually find a model which actually is a model which is attractive to owner-operators of parks. So it's a pretty damning sort of slide in terms of where the fees are going and how the various models are happening in the market. So more of what you want and less of what you don't. So we'll talk about what's sort of in the offering, and I think what's in the offering is actually everything that you're getting now plus some. And then you've got access, as I said, to this back office. And for those that haven't walked around, I encourage you to go for a walk at the end of this, or even if we'll have a break at some stage, stretch the legs. But there's a decent infrastructure. There's about 85 people here in this office, from development, IT, marketing, training. There's a big infrastructure of people here that we actually want to give you guys access to. So we want to give you. We also want to give you sales at the right time. And I think one of the challenges I see with the marketing brands and Big Four and Top Parks, and it sort of boils down to how strong my brand is, right? So there's no call to action. The issue with Discovery, we are a sales-focused business and we're an owner-operator like you. So there's no point delivering me customers in the middle of on the 26th of December. Because the 26th of December, particularly in South Australia, I'm full, right? When I want customers is midweek in February or June, right? That's when I want customers, because I can fill on the 26th of December. So I think the whole way that we need to consider the future of our marketing strategies is actually, yes, our peak's important. Don't get me wrong. I still want to fill your peak. But how do we make your peak, not 95, but 100? And how do we make your shoulder wider? And how do we make your off-peak better than what it is? Who's had a contract from a road contractor or a NBN contractor or something like that over the last 5 years and gone, wow, I've made a lot of money out of that contract? I mean, put your hand up if you've benefited from that. To be honest with you, how do we attract more of that? How do we attract school groups? How do we do more of the stuff that Top Parks and Big Four don't focus on because they're not owner-operators, right? And Discovery is an owner-operator. How do we fill our parks at the right time of the year and the right time of the week and in the right month? Because to be honest with you, I'm already full in January. So other than after Australia long weekend, which obviously we can always do with more people after Australia Day. But how do we start thinking on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to fill our booking calendar all the flipping time? And from my perspective, that's what I want to do with you guys, is work with you to fill your calendars all day, or all days in all months, we'll never get all year, but try and actually enhance the whole booking calendar across the group. So let's talk about what's sort of in the and there's a lot of information here, and by the way, a lot of it's in your packs. So if you haven't got packs yet, you will get packs. This table seems to have packs, that table doesn't. I think this table grabbed them off the back beforehand, but basically what's included in the base fee, right? It's everything that you're currently getting with Top Parks. So it's a community culture. We are an owner-operator, right? So we actually just all work in the same business, the same industry, right? At the end of the day, we are perceived as a large corporate. We are a large group, but our managers and our staff are just like your staff, right? We just have to be we're just fortunate that we're actually in the same industry, and most people in the same industry are similar people. It's a great laid-back environment and culture in Discovery as what it is in your parks. Having said that, it's also a performance-driven park, or performance-driven culture, just like it is in your businesses. You guys want to make profit, we want to make profit as well. So I think when you dig deeper, and we want to sort of share that with a conference, you'll see that we're very similar people. So the culture is obviously really important. Customer-centric culture, and we've probably been viewed previously as being a bit, less focused on the customer. Over the last few years, we've invested a lot of training into more of a customer-centric culture, and we'll talk through that. But all of our focus at staff level is about delivering great customer service. Having said that, a lot of you guys own your parks, right? And you actually work in your parks. So you actually probably deliver better customer service than a lot of because we do run under management. So we do have the issues that we don't, every park, in every manager in every park is probably not as, there's some wonderful people within our portfolio, but I find that, owner-operators like you, they go that extra mile. Our staff do, but I think there's probably more consistency across owner-operators. So I think it's really important that we focus on the customer. Anyway, there's all sorts of things in there, and we'll talk through it, but it's the guide, it's the conferences, it's the caravan and camping shows, it's all the stuff that happens currently in your world in Top Parks. We want to deliver the same thing. However, having said that, we also want to deliver all these other things to you from a sort of access to the back office. So we can deliver to you training. We can deliver you. We've done 8 water parks, right, over the last 5 years. So if one of you wants to deliver a safari tent development or a water park or a new swimming pool, sure, some other people can help you do that. But we're here to help as well, right? We're here to that door's open, and if you want to come and ask for advice. You don't have to ask for advice, but if you want to get some advice, we're here to help. Just like the couple that we met up in Queensland last week, they would have loved the support and the advice. So we just want to show you that the opportunity to participate in the back office is really, really important. WHS and audits and reports. One of the interesting things came out of, I think it was out of Melbourne. There was feedback saying, we just want access to WHS audits. So, and the audits don't go anywhere. It's not as though we go and tell anybody about them. But if you wanted to say an audit of your park, we could go and do one. It only goes to you. It doesn't go anywhere. And then you might want an audit in, say, 12 months' time or 2 years' time to see whether you've one, what are the compliance issues, and then 2, have I improved? And the feedback in the Melbourne meeting was that was actually really valuable to a bunch of parks because they thought, we don't really know what the requirements are. So we said, okay, well, we do it anyway, so maybe we can come and do one for you. It does not as though we send it off to the auditor, or it just goes to you, and it's up to you what you do with it. And then maybe come back in 2 years' time, or and do another audit. So they're the sort of things which we don't mind whether you use it or not, but it's available to you if you want to use it. So Kate's, as I said, I introduced Kate previously, so she's our Chief People Officer. So we are spending a lot of time on training, and we will show you a video on our conference here in Adelaide. But we've just launched last week a training course. It's the first course that's been run. It's sort of who knows Ian Beadle and the course he used to run up in New South Wales. Ian Beadle's a Big Four member, but he was running a course up there which was a Certificate 3, and it gave you sort of basic training in caravan park world. Now that's stopped. He's sort of retired. He's still at his park, but that training course is finished. So we see that we're having to train our staff, and so we're now delivering a training course to the public. And last week we had 16 people, so it was only our first course. Next, it was in Melbourne, and there were 16 people that came along, and it was a whole week. And basically, what people come out of that is real basics of how to actually park management. And the next training course is in Byron Bay, so it it's not specific to a park. It actually travels around the country, and actually people come and join that course. The reason why I'm telling you is because what comes out of that is people. So out of those 16 people, Sarah, our trainer, said that, look, man, there are 2 people. There's only 2 unfortunately, out of the 16, but there are 2 people that were, the external people that were absolute guns. So she's saying to us, those people, they have potential. And the reason why I'm saying to you guys is, okay, so let's say that that Discovery doesn't have room for them, and you say to us, we need staff. How hard is it to get trained staff? We say to you, look, we haven't got anybody in out that we can help you with right now, but we know this couple, they did a course, they've done a course in, wherever they are. We will run one here in South Australia. And basically we'll tap on the shoulder of those good students, and we'll say, listen, you've done a great job. Would you actually like to come into the Top Parks network? And Ian would like, I'm sorry to keep picking on Ian, but Ian would like an assistant manager, and Ian's got a job for you. Now it's completely a separate relationship between Ian and that person, but we can at least feed you people that have actually had a basic level of training and have actually been assessed by us as having good potential. So it's an example of an investment in training, and we're investing in it anyway for our own people, but I think it's a really important aspect that we can actually feed into the Top Parks network. The biggest criticism, or not criticism, not even complaints about anything, but the biggest feedback we've had is, wow, we just love some help and some support around staff, around relief staff, around training. I mean, that's been a really, really big flavour of some of the feedback that we've had in this process. And the quality assurance manual is what I mentioned previously, and it's all about standards, right? So again, we won't be out there checking your parks. Don't worry. I know there's a bit of fear out there that, oh my God, they're going to be checking on us, and we have to have a jumping pillow, and we want you to run your own parks. But if you want an audit, an assessment, then we can do one for you. But we're not going to sit here and say, to be part of this group, you need to have a jumping pillow, right? That's not what we're saying at all. We're actually saying it's up to you how you want to run your park. What we are saying is there's a minimum requirement of 2-star, which, to be honest with you, I think is too low, but that's where we are, right? In terms of the feedback we've had is that there's parks that wouldn't get through the gate. And when you say 2-star, what is 2-star? It's a 2-star on TripAdvisor. And it's 2-star, it's breaching 2-star for 3 months, right? So it feels like it's pretty low to me, and I reckon we should up it, because I think as a group, we should be looking at, as a portfolio, we don't want somebody in our portfolio, in our network, having a negative impact on your brands, right? Having said that, it's 2-star that we're going forward with at this stage. So, building the brands. People say to me, how's this going to work? All right, how does this all work? Your Discovery, we're Top Parks. How's this actually going to work? So, I want to take you through the way that we're thinking about how the brands are working and how this is actually coming together. So, sorry, brands is next. This is actually the loyalty card. So the loyalty card is right now you've got 78,000, 80,000 paid members. We've got 40,000. So what we'd look to do is combine the membership groups. So every Top Park member would get in the mail a new G'day card, right? Now, that G'day card is not, it's agnostic to brand, right? And there's a G'day magazine, people on this table have seen it, people on that table haven't seen it, but you'll see it shortly. But it's effectively, it's a great customer-facing concept, right? It's a and those that have looked through the magazine, it's a it doesn't fade, it's not a sales pitch. It is an agnostic, nice tone. It's about caravanning. It's about toasties. It's about, it's just a really, really nice sort of engagement piece with customers. So we're looking to put that in the market, which is something which actually, it's already in the market, right? So the magazine, which unfortunately, as I said, these people have got, which you'll get in a sec, it's a nice engagement, but doesn't focus on sales, or yes, it's got some discovery in there, but in future, it'll be a Discovery Top Parks magazine. And in addition to that, it'll be a combined loyalty club of G'day. Now, Sarah's doing some great stuff around a digital card, and that will still progress, right? So yes, there'll be a physical card that will go out to the individual members, but the idea is eventually I think it should be digital. I think Top Parks are going in the right direction in terms of putting it on a digital platform, because I think think about over time people are going to be using their phone way more than they're going to use their wallet. So having that card in your wallet is going to be a thing of the past. Now, as we know right now, when people check into your park, they pull their wallet out and they go, and there's a Big 4 card and a Discovery card and a Family Parks card and a Top Park, and they go, which one are you? Are you who's had that, right? We've all had that, and it's frustrating as anything. And you say, well, anyway. So the idea is we're actually going to get rid of some of this confusion, because there won't be a Discovery card, there won't be a Top Parks card. Discovery won't be affiliated with Big 4. It won't be affiliated, right? It will be affiliated with G'day, right? So actually, we're going to cut out sort of that confusion in the market. And right now, as I said, we've got 27 Big 4 parks. We've got 14 Top Parks. It is confusing for guests. They're going to a Discovery Park, and there's a Big 4, and it's all very confusing, right? So the idea behind this is actually we at least cut out some of the confusion. There's still going to be confusion, don't get me wrong, but we cut out some of the confusion. And this becomes what the customers are seeing. And what we're doing here with G'day is really, this is what's funding your marketing costs. And when you say, how does this work? Why are the fees so cheap? The reality here is we are putting all our effort into this, and we want to grow this to say 350 odd thousand. The numbers we'll talk about shortly are 320,000. But this at $40, so exactly the same fees as what's going through your current membership. But we want to turn the 78 plus the 40, which is 120 roughly. We're going to turn that 120 into 320, right? So we're going to grow that by 200,000. And in doing that, that is effectively what funds the marketing of what we're talking about today. Now, why are we doing that? We're doing that because we have access to some awesome stuff through Sunsuper. Sunsuper have 200 odd businesses that they have access to, such as the Good Guys. So the Good Guys, White Goods, they acquire white goods. The members of Sunsuper, so the individual Sunsuper members that have superannuation in Sunsuper, they can acquire white goods through Good Guys at 30% discount off retail. And they are selling $300,000 a month of white goods through Good Guys through those 1.3 million people. So what we want to do here with G'day is we want to make it more than a discount card. Don't get me wrong, the market is fixated on discount, right? It's frustrating as anything, and we're all frustrated with discount, right? The market's fixated on this 10%, and it's only going to be 10%, and it's only going to be $40, so don't worry about it. We're not going to sit there and go, it's going to be 10% up to $250, it's 10% up to $40, so don't worry, we're not changing that. But we want to change it. We want to change the customer's perception that it's actually not a discount card, it's actually a loyalty card, it's a membership card. Because they're going to get way more benefits than discount, because they're going to get access to these services, these products in the background. And to be honest with you, when you all go away and leave today, go and research, why is Discovery doing this? We're doing this for a number of reasons. We want to get a national footprint. At 60 parks, we've got a decent footprint. To be honest with you, there's only probably 200 parks that are attractive to Discovery, left in terms of an acquisition perspective. So if we bought 10% of 200, it's sort of 20 parks. So we might get to 85 parks, but we're actually never going to get a national footprint. And that's something that I don't think everybody's starting to realise, is that groups aren't actually ever going to get a national footprint. We're just not going to get there. So having a relationship, having an affiliate model, like a license model with you guys, we can deliver to customers a true national footprint. So while we're doing this, we're keen to do it to deliver customers a proper national footprint, but we're also keen to grow an incredible loyal membership base, which we know stay longer and spend more. And the way we do that is obviously to give them more than discount. And that is actually what the value of this is long term from a discovery perspective. And to be honest with you, that's what the value is to you guys, because we will be pushing them through the funnel, right? The funnel needs to get bigger, all right? We need to push them down into the Top Parks network. So this is actually probably the biggest change, but probably the most exciting part, I think, of where we're going in terms of putting all those customers together and having access into the back office of the back end of the 1.3, and us converting as many of our 400,000 emails. So we're going to have a real drive about conversion. And if you jump on our website, I'd love you to jump on our website, you'll see that we actually offer already a lower price from a member to a full, so when you book a cabin, you'll see there's a member price versus a market price. And it is the market price that you've got to offer to your OTAs, is the member price that nobody can ever tell us that we have to match that price anywhere online. So we will always deliver a lower price than the OTAs. So don't do it now, but when you go away, go and try and make a booking at a Discovery Park and have a look at how it delivers you product on the internet. And to be honest with you, we've sold 4,000. These numbers are out of date now. We're saying it's a while back now, but in I think it was over 1 or 2 weeks, we did 4,000 members, right, in 1 or 2 weeks. So that is that's the sort of traction that we were getting in our website, and we're keen to push. So let's talk about how this can work from a brand perspective. So when we started talking to Richard and the board, it was very much talking about a joint venture, and we looked at trying to combine the brands. Okay, we tried to look at, say, Discovery Top Parks or Top Discovery Parks, and we tried to sort of work out whether the brands could work. And the board was very firm. They said, no, we are Top Parks, and Top Parks needs to survive forever. It's an important brand, and we're not going to be, it is not Discovery, it is Top Parks. And the independent park owners don't want to be called Discovery, they want to be called Top Parks. We said, all right, fine, we'll go back to the drawing board. So we went back and we searched, sort of looked at the world and the globe in terms of how hotel companies do it. And effectively we came across, well, they all do it this way, but the best example that we see that was relevant for you guys was the Accor model. So Accor is a French listed company, one of the biggest hotel businesses in the world. Accor has everything from an Ibis to a Sofitel, Novotel, Sebel, Formula One, right? This is one company. It owns all these brands, has thousands of rooms across the globe. There is one membership group, one club called the Le Club. So the Le Club sits over all brands. So I can go in I can have my Le Club membership card, and I can go into an Ibis and I get points, or I get points, right? So what we're looking at here is basically a similar model to the Accor group. That is how we're looking at this moving forward. So how does this work from a brand perspective? We started here with a combined Discovery Top Discovery Parks concept, which is really a branded house. So it's a bit like FedEx, right? FedEx, Freight, Ground. This is the one brand across just different subcategories. So it's a bit like your Top Parks. So it's a bit like your resort and your holiday. That's basically what this is, right? Right through from an endorsed brand, which is basically Kellogg's, Crunchy Nut cornflakes. It's endorsed by Kellogg's, right? Then we looked at Procter & Gamble. So Procter & Gamble is the head, that's the owner of these brands. And to be honest with you, you don't really hear of Procter & Gamble. Yes, we've probably all heard about it, but it's not a retail brand. What the reality here is, the brands that sit under Procter & Gamble are Gillette, Pampers, Ariel. These are brands that sit under the Procter & Gamble brand. So what we're looking at is effectively two brands really, Top Parks and Discovery Parks. And they will be separate websites. All right, they will be separate websites. And the way that we, I did have used this already, and it's sort of got some interesting responses. But the way that we're thinking about it is, look, we are Discovery's first 3 parks were 3 top parks. So we are actually, I think we're more aligned with top parks from a brand perspective than we are anybody else in the market. So anybody else is probably family parks, and it's probably also top big 4. You know, I don't think we're pretentious. I think I think we've got a range of parks, and some of our parks are not so good, and some of our parks are amazing, right? And I think one of the problems with, say, Big 4 is that there's a real attitude of eliteness, and everything's got a water park. And, you know, I mean, yes, Lake Bonny's about to get a water park, but I don't know if he's been to Lake Bonny over the last 10 years. It's been a pretty average park, right? And we've probably got a lot of criticism of it, but it's been a good park from our perspective. It's made good profits, and it's been a park that I've still loved, even though it hasn't had all that investment. Yes, it's getting investment now, but it hasn't been the amazing park in the portfolio. So we are a mixed bag of parks. So I think at the end of the day, you know, top parks, it has a very big range of parks. So I think we've got a very similar culture. I think about how this actually can work moving forward. And for those that know Discovery for a long time, we were Beston. So I assume everybody has heard of Beston. So Beston Parks was how we started. And we had a brand, and that was what I loved, and that's what I was passionate about. And we became Discovery, and I said, no, we can't change to Discovery. I love Beston, right? And then we became Discovery, and I went, wow, it's a great brand, and I don't really like Beston anymore, right? So I think the way that we're thinking about this, and the way that we've got to think about this, is that we've got to love another brand. And it's a bit like having a second child. Your first child you love, your second child you love them just as much. You don't love your second child less than you love the first child. So I think from our perspective, we want to invest a hell of a lot of money into top parks, and we want to love it. We do love it, and we want to love it as though it's ours, because it will be ours, because this transaction involves us buying it, right? And we're going to pump a truckload of money into it because we want it to be a massive, awesome brand in this market. Not suggesting it's not now, but we want to make it way better than what we think it can, what we think it is today. So, what we've talked about with Sunsuper, one of our challenges internally is that our staff may work for a top park. Our staff may work for top parks. They may not work for Discovery, and I'll explain that in a sec. So one of the challenges we've got is right now I'm employed by Discovery. Everybody in our office is employed by Discovery. Now, one of the challenges we've got is how can you be employed by Discovery but work for top parks? It creates confusion within our staff. So we're actually changing the name of our company. Sunsuper's investment in Discovery will no longer be an investment in Discovery. Sunsuper's investment will be we're going to change its name. It's not a new company. We're going to change the name of Discovery, and Discovery will be called Discover What. I know there's Discovery in the name, or Discover in the name. It'll become Discover What Matters, and we'll show you why it's Discover What Matters in some videos. But Discover What Matters is really about how we engage our staff and how we encourage our staff to engage with our customers. Because what matters to one customer is different what matters to another customer. So what we push from an internal cultural piece is discover what matters to that customer is different to your customer. There are all different customers, and we've got to treat them differently. We've got to find out whether a worker who's a tradie who's been working digging ditches all day, what matters to him or her is that that person gets in from a hard day's work and gets a really comfy bed, gets fed, gets some good Wi-Fi, and goes to bed, right? Whereas a family who's arrived with a bunch of kids, what matters to the mum and dad is that the kids are gone, they're on the jumping pillow, I don't have to worry about them. My mum packed the car and I'm having a glass of wine with my wife. So what matters to different customers is different in our park. So what we push out is discover what matters. Discover what matters to our customers. And that fits, to be honest with you, across top parks, and it fits across Discovery, right? So we're looking to change the name of the employment company and the investment company that Sunsuper invests into to DWM Holdings, right? And that is all about Discover What Matters Holdings. And that will obviously own the Top Parks brand, the Discovery Parks brand, and the G'day Reward program. So that's the concept of what we're doing here. So that's quite a big change. We're going to reorganise our business. So internally, and even with the Top Parks staff coming, and Sarah was asking me about it yesterday in the car. We're seeing quite detailed around how this is going to work in the marketing function. And at the end of the day, there will be people dedicated to Top Parks, and there'll be people dedicated to Discovery from a marketing perspective. And the whole way we're structuring our office and our back office is actually going to be very different to what it is now. So it's a big commitment, right? It's not just the financial commitment to you guys, which we'll talk about shortly. It's not just the investment that we're putting into the brand in terms of the launch or the relaunch of the brand, but it's also actually what we're doing in a back office perspective. So we think Discovery and Top Parks, we are better together. I think, as I said, you've got a massive, awesome culture, 209 parks. Discovery's got 65 parks. It's got capability. We want to blend the two businesses together, and we think we can be a way better business than Discovery is alone, and what Top Parks is alone. So 1 + 1 = 4, rather than 1 + 1 = 2. So how are we going to do this from a marketing perspective? Don't worry, I haven't got long, and then we might have a quick break. But who are we? I think I've been to this. We've actually been doing marketing for 13 years. So we're not a fly-by-night. We're not the newcomers. We've got a good track record of our marketing, and I think we are very sales-focused. I am a salesperson. I don't do marketing for marketing's sake. I do marketing for sales, right? And just like you guys, I want sales at the right time. So we specialise online. We specialise on digital. Dana is our Chief Marketing Officer. Unfortunately, she's not here today. Her background is all digital. She's digital, right? So we don't want to be the best household name. Yes, we want to improve the brand awareness. At 1% is pretty average, right? But it doesn't need to be 40% brand awareness unprompted, but it needs to be better than what it is. So we need to put a little bit of money into our brand awareness, but we need to put a lot of money into trying to find the customers that actually already know about parks and are quite keen to be at parks, and get them to come to our parks. And as I said, we're a sales focus. How do we do it? We are continually ongoingly developing our online and our IT platforms. As I said, there's $5.5 million going to that right now, and the CRM is a massive part of it, and we'll talk about through that how that works. CX, the user experience and the customer experience is really important. A bit like Uber, right? I mentioned it previously. Why do people use Uber? Because it's flipping nice. It just works. It is an awesome platform to go onto Uber. It just works. So we want to have the best user experience that our customers can have, right? And then when they get to the park, it's up to you, because then you've got to deliver the customer experience. But at least while they're on the booking platform, it is slick. Why do we need a new Top Parks business? Well, I think at the end of the day we need to adapt. 82% of the people are researching online. So wiki camps. I mean, I got the question the other day. Yeah, but what happens if there's a Discovery Park there and a Top Parks there, and you're driving up the east coast of Australia? What's going to make them go that way or that way? I can tell you right now, it's not because it's a Discovery Park or it's a Top Park. It's because they've researched it, and it's because they know that if you go left, you get this level of customer service. It might be a grey nomad, family friendly, low powered site fees, whatever. And right might be all the bells and whistles and jumping pillows and everything else, right? Everybody's doing research. 82% of people are researching. So the referral network is really, really important. I completely agree with the referral network is important, but people are researching us online. So the challenge for us is when we start falling down to these twos and belows from a TripAdvisor perspective, which is the reason why we've got a level in the agreements, which we'll show you, is because we don't want our brand sitting at 1. We don't want your brand sitting at 1, right? We need it to be a little bit better. But I think the other thing is people are researching anyway, so they're doing their homework. So it's really important that Discovery is not actually going to deliver you the great customer experience. You guys still need to deliver the great customer experience. What we can do though is if we start seeing parks sitting at 2%, we will probably say to you, look, we're seeing you sitting at 2%. Do you want some help? Do you want some help around what we're seeing in terms of feedback, in terms of training, in terms of things? So the idea is to try and improve the whole portfolio from a guest experience perspective. Okay, and then more parks, delivering sales into your parks more often. So we've talked about delivering sales, and that's obviously is a key part. So let's talk about how we do this. So the way that we're focusing on the delivery of sales and through the CRM in the business is that with our customer base, and Sunsuper are actually doing it right now. There's a company called Experian. Experian is an organisation in Melbourne, and basically it has sliced and diced different types of people across Australia into different categories. And I think there's 22 different people types of people in Australia, and that is their demographics, where they're, what's their history, their upbringing, how many kids they've got. So basically, there's 22 different types of people in Australia. And the way that we are working through the database from our perspective and through the Sunsuper database is that everybody is actually put in one of these buckets, right? These buckets of 22 people. And then what happens is we put very targeted marketing into those 22 buckets of people. Now, we've actually brought that back to, I think, 11. They're called personas, right? 11 personas. And you would have heard that probably in marketing discussion, but it's effectively bringing back a big chunk of people through a database into a smaller chunk of people in terms of how we target communication to those people. Now, I read a really interesting presentation from Dana, our CMO, in the last couple of days actually, and we've sent 1 million less emails to our database in the last 12 months than we have in the previous 12 months. 1 million. And I went, wow, that's a massive reduction. I would have thought we would send more. And the reality, but then the conversion rate's gone up, right? So what's happened is we've actually sent less emails, but conversion rate's gone up because we've sent more targeted emails to the people at the right time. So, I mean, Dave uses a good example of this, but Dave, I think he does a lot of obviously Dave uses Gumtree a lot. But Dave reckons he can go and search a holiday in Vietnam, and then he goes and looks on Gumtree on his computer, and then all of a sudden on the right-hand corner he's got Vietnam, right? And it's like, what? Well, that's pretty weird. It's Big Brother. Big Brother's looking at me. I'm looking at, I've just looked at Vietnam. Well, that was even last night. Last night I looked at Vietnam. It's not even in my browser today. And I'm looking at Gumtree and I've got Vietnam. So, it's about what we're really trying to do is bring cutting edge technology through basically delivering. If people are looking at any type of park holiday, any type of accommodation, right? And maybe they've jumped onto the Top Parks website but didn't book, right? We want to target them tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So the systems that we're delivering is effectively doing very, very targeted delivery of EDMs and communications to people through Facebook, through Instagram, and I don't know if anybody's joined any of our stuff, but I like everything, so I get bombarded with everything. But you go through and you have a look at the targeted communication that comes out through social media, plus you look at the way that we're targeting when you actually haven't purchased. That is what we're trying to do, all right? And that's what we want to deliver to you guys or to our customers, our collective customers, moving forward. So we're trying to deliver. Right now, there's about 800,000 visitors to your website per annum. We want to target 3 million between now and 2019, which is not that long. And right now, as I said, there's 120. If you take Discovery 40, 39 or whatever it is, you guys are 78. So let's say it's 120 members in the combined group. We're going to grow that by $200,000 between now and 2019, by June 2019. Which the reality is this transaction won't happen until January, February. So the reality is in 18 months, we're going to try and put in 200,000 members, right? And the other thing I think we want to do is we really want to create this loyalty. One of the problems I think with all these cards is that people last for 2 years. People buy a card, they do a lap around Australia, and then they don't renew their card. So the fall-off rate for Top Parks is only 40% are renewing. So 60% of people fall off the Top Parks card, right? 50% fall off Big Four. So the fall-off rate is massive. So if you can actually add some benefits in this around, as I mentioned, purchasing power in terms of getting access to Good Guys, we want to try and make people loyal. And so and we haven't got access to your back end. I've already said that. We're not having access to your back end. So we don't know, whether a customer's checked into your park if they're a G'day member. So we can't track loyalty. We can't track true loyalty, right? Because somebody might actually spend $10,000 in the Top Parks network, and because we've said we don't get access to your data, we actually will not know, which is unfortunate. We'd love to, but one of our frustrations in the offerings of the others is that there's too much data control. So one of the challenges with that model is that we're actually going to reward people by length of service. And I hate rewarding people by length of service because I don't think it's about contribution. But anyway, that's another thing. So we're going to reward people by length of service. So there will be levels of cards, but we'll be rewarding them by saying, right, a 2-year member is different from a 5-year member, is different from a 10-year member, right? And that's that's where we want to go to this. So then we can actually get really loyal customers. You think about it when you're a Qantas frequent flyer, you don't become a frequent flyer for 2 years. You lose all your points after 2 years if you don't use it, I think it is. But it's about joining a true loyalty club. And that's what we want to deliver. And therefore we stop the roll-off, we keep the customers in the funnel, and we can market to those customers more often in terms of targeted marketing and into the product they want to go. So if I'm a nomad and I don't give a damn about water parks, I don't want to know about them. I want to know how I can get a $25 site when I'm travelling up the east coast of Australia. That's what's important to me. So that's what we'll send you. Right? Whereas if I'm a family and I've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old kid and I want a water park, I want to know about water parks. So different information. So we're going to invest $10 million into the Top Parks brand in the first 18 months. So it's a lot of money, right? So as I said, right now Sarah's budget's $1.2 million. She puts $700,000 into tactical marketing. We're going to put $10 million into the brand because we're going to own it and we want to invest in it. We're going to put $10 million in the first 18 months. How do we do that? We're going to put $4.4 million into search, right? And the reason why we're going to do that is because right now it's 1% brand recognition. It doesn't need to be 38 like Big Four, right? And I know that everybody goes, oh, we're going to take on Big Four, but it doesn't need to be 38%. But it needs to be, say, 15 to 20% because you need some level of brand recognition. Because if you can get some level of brand recognition, you don't have to pay as much search. So right now we're going to put a lot of search into it because we've got to get people to go to Top Parks. And then once people are in Top Parks, we can actually tone down the spend in Top Parks, in search, and we can actually focus more on tactical marketing. But we need to really invest hard to actually improve the brand of Top Parks from an online presence perspective. We need to obviously also invest in digital. So we've got a News Limited proposal. We haven't accepted it yet, obviously, because this transaction hasn't gone ahead. But there's effectively a $3.5 million investment into all digital assets. So this is not about being in the paper about News Limited, but it's all the digital assets, right? So it's going to be in your face. It's going to be, again, it'll really help the brand recognition and drive people to what Top Parks actually is. We're going to spend $1 million in technology upgrades. So as I said, we're already spending $5.5 million, but there's one of the biggest issues I think we need to focus on is the back end. How do you, as a B2B, as a customer of this product, how do you interact with Top Parks? And I look at the Big Four private, and those of you who haven't got Big Four parks, the way that you interact with Big Four from a park perspective is quite slick. I think it's nowhere near as good as what it could be. And we want to have a state-of-the-art system how you guys interact. So how do you upload photographs? How do you pull up the latest standard forms around various? How do you access procurement? The back end needs to be slick because this is actually a business model where our focus is not only on the B2C customer, i.e. the G'day customer, but this is also about delivering a business which has a great B2B. Business to business. How do we deliver you a great service, right? So we're going to invest heavy in an extranet, and make sure that we're giving you the great services out through all the standard documents, but you can also load up your own. There's a new proposal on a. Let's say you guys have got some, opening of a sausage sizzle or something to do with something, right? You should load it up onto your park and tell the world, right? So it's about having a great back end into the back end of Top Parks. And social media, there's a lot happening in that space. So there's $10 million, so it's quite quick, right? $10 million. This is just in the first 18 months. Now, people have said to me, oh yeah, but what happens after that? Okay, I can tell you right now, we're actually going to be paying you guys roughly $10 million, we'll come to that in a sec. We're going to be putting $10 million into this marketing. This is a $20+ million investment for Discovery. We're not going to let this fall over. We're talking about 18 months, 2 years here. But this is actually just what we've got to at the moment. But this is an ongoing business plan of an ongoing business model where, to be honest with you, it cannot fail. Discovery is not in business of failing. We've never failed at anything. We don't set out to fail. We want to really invest hard in this and make sure you guys become great loyal customers of Discoveries of Top Parks. So become great loyal customers, and therefore, as a business, we actually make you more money. You're happy. Right? If I can deliver you a letter at the end of every financial year and say it's cost you this, but we've delivered to you that, and not only did we deliver it to you that, but we also delivered it to you off peak or on shoulder or something else, and you guys go, that's pretty bloody good, then I think we've done our job. But if we can't, then you should get rid of us and you should move on to another brand. And I want to put my butt on the line in terms of what I want to deliver to you, and now we've got to go and deliver it if this goes ahead. So this is not, though, all about us. It's also about you. We need you to be doing your local area marketing. We will not run your marketing. This is not your entire marketing strategy, right? And to be honest with you, I know there's some great local area marketing that you guys all do, but I can tell you there's also some massive opportunities. We see how little some people do in their local environment, right? Sausage sizzles and, pancake mornings and all that sort of stuff. And all that stuff is really, really important, and you guys are going to do it. We're not going to do it, not for us to do it. So we will deliver to you, the CRM, we'll deliver you the digital, we'll deliver the loyalty program, we'll deliver you the content, and we've got, we've got a full graphic design team out here, and they are just pumping out, and Sarah's got to outsource all that. So it's all sits in here in this office. So we want something, we go to our graphic design team, we say, we need this, and they deliver it. And then all these brochures you see here have been done by our graphics design team, and they've turned it around like that. And there's been changes as the deals changed over the last few weeks that we've had to make, and we've had to reprint this stuff. So, but it's really important for you that you guys are doing your own thing, because we are not going to do all of your local area marketing. So don't think of this as your one-stop shop marketing strategy. And as a business, we need to encourage you guys to do that, because therefore, again, the whole Top Parks brand can lift because the local community knows about us. We all know that visiting family and friends is a big part of our market. A lot of our customers travel within 400 k's from our parks, right? I assume you guys have done your research, but most parks, customers come from within 400 k's of your park. So it's really important that you also do your own local area marketing. Got to do it. So what's next? What's next in terms of the process, and there's more today, but what's next in terms of the process is that we are doing these roadshows. We're in Albury yesterday, Melbourne the day before that, Queensland the week before that. There's been WA, I'm in Sydney tomorrow, I'm over in WA next week. So the roadshows are all continuing. There is an SGM that will be called on the 20th of December, and that SGM has been put back. So I know you're looking at me going, I thought it was earlier than that. It was earlier than this, it was earlier, and it's been put to the 20th. And everybody's going, oh God, that's a pretty bad week. That's the week before Christmas. So don't worry, right? This will actually be done, I think, by proxy. We want you to turn up, but given you're out from South Australia, you might. But I imagine this is going to be done a lot by proxy, right? And the idea here is we're asking you to vote, and we will talk about there'll be a video shortly which Richard will talk about the vote. But the vote is a 50% requirement of the members is effectively gets legally the legal process to make this transaction happen. Having said that, Discovery has put in a condition that this won't happen unless at least 25 members take it up. So the problem with this 50% is that if 20 people turn up to the SGM and 11 people vote yes and 9 people vote no, it goes ahead even though there's 209 parks. So we encourage you to vote. You have to vote. Yeah, I said 125. Yep. Did I say that? Didn't I say 125? 25. Oh, okay. No. Sorry. Sorry about that. That's definitely not the case. No, it's 125. 125. So it's a Discovery requirement, because we're not going to go and spend $10 million on marketing if there's only 20 people that are going to join this thing, right? So this needs scale from our perspective, and we want to make this the best brand in this market. So we need you guys to vote, and Discovery actually needs 125 people or parks for this to happen. So if it doesn't happen, then away it goes in terms of. So that's the process. In terms of what's in it for me, right? We've just been through what's in it for you in the long term. This is the good part of life. This is basically a demutualisation. You guys are a membership group. You're a member organisation. You own the brand Top Parks. One of the problems with Top Parks is it's a not-for-profit. It's not a problem, but the legal structure of Top Parks, it's a not-for-profit. So one of the problems with that is that we can put all the money in the world into Top Parks, but we can't get it to you guys, right? It doesn't get to you guys. So the way that the transaction's been structured is, yes, we're actually paying $4 million for the brand, which it goes into the Top Parks business, but that's a minor detail. What we're actually looking to do is to pay you guys to effectively, not only do you vote in the SGM, but you also join the future. Because you could vote no and walk away, or you could vote no and still join us, or you could vote yes and walk away. But the issue, what we're trying to do is say, you vote yes and you come with us. And if you come with us, we will pay you to come with us. So this is effectively like AMP. AMP demutualised a bunch of years ago. So people have life insurance policies, and all of a sudden they kept their life insurance policy, but they got some free shares on the stock exchange. Happy days, right? It's very, very similar to this. This is effectively a demutualisation of Top Parks. So you will still get all the benefits you get out of your membership of Top Parks, but you'll get paid some cash. So this is effectively the demutualisation of Top Parks. And if you join us, and we did have a 1-year option, and I thank the Top Parks board for saying no, we don't want 1 year, because they thought we didn't give us time to perform. But we've got a 2-year, a 3-year, and a 4-year option. And effectively, we'll pay you cash, and this will probably happen around January or end of January, providing as soon as we've got 125 parks, this will be paid. And we are hoping that we can get this done by the end of January. So the SGM will happen in December, and we're hoping by the 31st of January, we've got our 125, and it could end up being 190, but as soon as we hit that 125, we will then go and pay you your respective dollars. Now, ideally, I want you all out here, right? I'd love to get you all for 4 years and pay you 50 grand. And that's what we want, this is actually an incentive to actually join the future. It's an incentive to be part of a great business going forward. So, I think, sorry, let's keep going. And by the way, all this is in your packs. So just keep writing down. But nothing changes between now, although we will enhance the back office. We will enhance the website as soon as if the SGM votes positively, we will get in straight away and start working with Sarah and the team and try and enhance the Top Parks, even if we haven't got the 125, because we may as well get going. But nothing happens with your fees. You've already paid for 2018. You've paid, right? So nothing changes. No commission, no extra fees. Nothing changes between now and the 30th of June. So from the 1st of July, this kicks in, right? Because you've already paid. So this is actually about the future rather than the past. Your bookings, I've already mentioned this, if it's a G'day member, you'll pay 5% through the website only. If it's a non-G'day member, you'll pay 8% commission. Where can you find that in the market? Tell me. You'll still get a rebate on your sale of G'day cards, and I know people make a lot of money out of that. So we're keen for that to happen. Encourage you guys to be doing that. We want to bring you to a conference. We want to bring you together, right? One of the things, we want to show you a video in a sec, but one of the key things that we want to do is we want to try and merge the cultures. I don't want to be sitting there with an us and them, right? If we're going to buy this, I want to be us. I want us to be us, right? We are together. And I want to bring us together in a conference perspective. I want to pay for you to come to the conference. And I want to actually try and have a really, really good practical conference. So yes, there'll be motivational speakers. Yes, there'll be relevant stuff around marketing. But I want to get some training, and I want to do some really exciting stuff. We did some dealing with aggressive people. We did some dealing with aggressive people training at our last conference. And it was very confrontational, right? Our staff, we've all had that drunken person at midnight that you've got to go and tell to be quiet because you're upsetting other guests, right? How do you deal with that person? That's the sort of stuff. I want to give you relevant training. I don't want to give you, and look, we can all say that we know how to do that. That's fine. So maybe the first year it's you guys, and then you say, look, this is all too easy. I'm the best manager in the world. I don't need to go to training. So maybe in the future you send your assistant managers, right? But we really want to see the conference as being a major training aspect plus a motivation. We want to be quite different to what's been put forward in the market. I think people are conferenced out in the market, and we want to bring relevant operational training to a conference environment, right? Plus motivation. We still think motivation is really, really important, but we really want to bring a training aspect to it. And then obviously we've talked about access for fee for service. So that's effectively the process for sort of the next 30 days and then sort of the next 6 months. So I think do you want to do a break first? Yes, okay. So what we might do is we might do a break if people want it. And then there's a video from Top Parks. And then we'll get into some Q&A, I think. So I know it's taking a lot of your day, but maybe you want to go and stretch your legs. I can probably, I can show people where the bathroom is, and we can regroup with a video shortly of the Top Parks board and some previous directors and chair people.